My god, this video took a stupidly long time to come out. The reason being, YouTube decided that Team Fortress 2 is no longer advertiser friendly, and I was planning to wait it out, but no, it's still the case that Team Fortress 2 is not advertiser friendly. And with YouTube being my main source of income, I have had to sustain the channel with smaller, low-budget videos, as it's not worth the risk to potentially lose weeks of work because of a stupid ad bot. But no more waiting, this video is coming out one way or the other, and if you would like to help support the channel and help make more of these videos possible, we have a Patreon you can check out, link in the description. Donators will get their names placed at the end of my main videos in the outro. I always appreciate your support, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Let's not wait any longer and get right into this video. With that being said, welcome to the top 10 best and worst maps in Team Fortress 2, in my opinion, part 2. Let's start off the 5th best with Harvest. Harvest has its issues to be sure, like the weird-shaped low-hanging skybox and the slightly spammable control point, but in terms of the King of the Hill game mode, it's probably the best all around. It has a large arena-like battlefield, yet a cleverly enclosed control point to help prevent across-the-map kills you can't avoid. Soldier can land on the roof and spam down, but it's surprisingly easy for a number of classes to counter that. Snipers being the obvious choice, or other soldiers, scouts, pyros, demomen, demo knights, or even quick fix medics, or the freaking spy if you time the jump with the speed buff right. The main buildings serve as a good alternative path to sneak around long-distance pick classes, provide good cover, offer a ton of sniper spots, and are a good place for jumper classes to pick up some extra health and ammo. Even Engineer has a ton of great places to build in here before moving his building up for an offensive push or holding down a captured control point. It's kind of underappreciated, but in modern Team Fortress 2, any map that still offers a good reason to play all of the 9 classes is a great map in my opinion. Sean Heyo Kutno, if that's how you pronounce your name, you did a great job on this one. But unfortunately, this is not the last we're going to talk about you on this list. In fact, let's get this out of the way with another well-known map of his. The 5th worst map on this list? Junction. Oh god, why? Why is this map still in the game? Okay, so aside from the stupidly low ceilings, the first 2 points are actually not that bad. It's actually fun to defend and attack on, and it's unique to have such a casual indoor setting for a TF2 battle. All of that is thrown out the window with this last friggin' point. From the narrowest crap hallways to the impossible attacking areas. Why is it impossible? Well, this right here is the only good angle you can get on the at least 7 level 3 sentries that they set up on the last point of this map. And do you notice something about it? Go ahead, take a long look. I'm gonna let you try and figure this out. It's left-handed! You know, the 0.0001% of TF2 players that are left-handed could use this at least, so you're required to do a 3-chain uber push with either sticky spam or heavies to try and take down all the sentries in time to capture its puny control point. That 1 crit pill or 2 shots will wipe your entire team clean off it. And if you fail, the engineers are literally right next to their spawn and they can get their sentries back up before your team even has a chance to respawn. The short time limit is not enough to capture, though not that I want to play on this last point alone for longer than 20 minutes. We don't need another Dust Bowl, but at least Dust Bowl had an open point. Like, don't get me wrong, it has potential, but god, this last point needs either changed or replaced altogether. Or, you know, just remove the whole map from the game. At this point, I honestly don't care. There's not enough potential here for me to feel bad if they remove it. And the 4th best map in the game is Capture the Flag Well. Oh, cool. Junction's still in the game, but this map gets removed. The most unique Capture the Flag map in the game. With its very large 3-level bases, its Goliath-sized intel room, I mean look at this thing. This is not a run-of-the-mill Capture the Flag. Very long-range sniper spots, but plenty of cover, multiple ways to enter the intel room, and an escape hatch into a small water channel for a sneaky but risky escape. Boxes offer an easy way for every class to climb on top of the mid-area structures. The stupidly large intel room, with both spawn rooms right next to the short hallways leading to it, encourages teamwork between the engineers and the rest of the team. You can't just have a simple sentry nest on this map. It just does not work. It encourages a more wholesome team play experience, but is still defendable to a single good engineer with the Wrangler if it needs to be. The sightline for the sentry covers practically the whole room, but unfortunately it just doesn't have the range, so that's why the Wrangler's required. The pushes to capture the intel offer so many options too that it doesn't come down to how many Ubers you have, but how you actually use them. It's plain and simple a fun and well-designed map. And also, this train is magical. But yeah, Valve, bring this map back. It's actually a really good one. And the fourth worst map in the game, Pit of Death. Hey, you there. You like getting spammed by unreachable soldiers while you try desperately to destroy the sentry nest guarding the one place on the map you need to go, and even if you take them down, there are still the god tier spells which they were camping the whole time to wipe you out and your entire group? Okay, does that sound fun? Does that seem okay? Yeah, okay. So, maybe you get past all of that, only to be obliterated by a heavy medic combo with the brass beast spun up in hell, because all you need is a medigun and a sandwich to survive in there. Cool that there are also no sightlines on the midpoint because of how elevated it is. Long-range classes? Pfft, they don't exist. The only classes are Heavy, Soldier, Medic, and Engineer. There are only 4 classes in this game, guys. Everything else is useless. Sadder even, though, is that it might actually make for a good King of the Hill map if you drop the Halloween nonsense, but aside from all that, its worst sin of all is this map actually managed to make Halloween spells unfun. Screw this map, and I'm not even gonna spend any more time talking about this pit of garbage. We're moving on. And the third best map in the game is Ghost Fort. Marasmus. Do I even need to say more about this map? Well, actually, yeah, it would be fair to say that this map was better a few years ago than it is today, back when it still dropped the free spells and before engineers were screwed over by not being able to protect their buildings in friendly mode. Yeah, Spy still gets a sapper, but Engie can't remove those sappers. That sounds fair, right? Aside from that, though, Ghost Fort, which is lakeside, so I don't know why it's a pun on Two Fort. Anyway, Ghost Fort is just stupid fun. The bottomless pit is amazing when you knock people into it, or you can just cloak and dagger on the health kit when they were going for it and watch them scamper to try and desperately cling on to something as they fall down into the void below. The area above is risky and hard to reach for an engineer, but becomes a god tier sentry nest with a little bit of luck, skill, and team support. The different random spells add a fun and unpredictable mechanic to the map as well. And Marasmus is just... well, I mean, he's Marasmus! I can't do him justice in the short time this map is allowed, but I freaking love Marasmus.
Our control point has been captured.
Too slow!
Overall, this map turns an already pretty good King of the Hill map into just stupid fun insanity. My only major complaint is that it can stalemate hard thanks to the new friendly mode, but it at least stops people from being total dinguses to other people. Except for spies. They are still allowed to be little jerks. Valve, please, such a simple adjustment could fix that. Oh well, this is still a great map overall. Moving on to the third worst map in the game, MossRock. I honestly thought most of the Jungle Inferno maps were... okay. Some far better than others, but none great and none bad enough to change my list. Or so I thought. This was originally going to be Two Fort, but while Two Fort is probably one of the worst designed maps in TF2 history, it's still a ton of fun, so you get a pass this time, Two Fort. MossRock, on the other hand, oh no, where to even start? Now, I know some will say Banana Bay, Brazil, or Mercenary Park should be here instead, but hear me out. MossRock I have history with from years before this update. Back in the day, it was just a generic Dust Bowl looking map. I think it was called White Rock, and it was just reskinned to fit the jungle theme. On my old server, we were testing new maps, and White Rock caught my eye with its wide battlefield. Once I got in the game, though, I realized that the first point is way too soldier and sniper friendly. It's too open with almost no cover at all. Soldiers have a ton of flank routes and areas to stand on, which defense should not have flank routes. Offense should have flank routes. Almost every other map in the game reserves that for blue team to advance, not hinder them. But the first point, once you power through, it's playable. What is not, actually, it is downright impossible to capture, is the last point, because of how enclosed, near spawn, spammable, and even hazardous it is. It's so easy to defend for all the wrong reasons. There are great sight lines from anywhere on or near the point to the narrow doors and halls blue has to come through for snipers and soldiers just to spam them out. This door here being the only straight angle for blue, but the sight lines don't work both ways. The door has to be open first, at which point a sentry or Crockett will destroy them instantly. The other ways in have no line of sight on the point at all unless you are in the spam zone. I have never seen a full game play out where blue captures this last point. Only in stupidly stacked teams, and even then, only if red is missing half of its players, would I ever expect blue to cap this last point. None of these problems were changed when it was updated for Jungle Inferno, and if that was not bad enough, this is it. Yeah, games that last as long as Dust Bowl are restricted to 2 control points. There is nothing else to the map. Why even have such a large area for the first point if it doesn't help capture it or serve any purpose once it's captured? It actually makes everyone now spawning there completely exposed, so if red pushes back even a little, get ready for the most serious spawn camping you've ever witnessed. Aside from Dust Bowl, that's a different story though. This map wasn't good enough for a custom server back then, and with nothing changing other than a stupid jungle skin, it shouldn't be good enough for the main game now. There's nothing more to say, but I hate MossRock. Moving on to the second best map in the game, 5 Gorge. Not to be confused with CP Gorge, which was a runner-up for one of the worst maps in the game. So how is 5 Gorge different enough that rather than being one of the worst, it made it all the way to second best? Splatoon design. What the heck is Splatoon design, you ask? Well, that's what I call a certain style of map that through clever design does not give a tactical advantage to either team and incorporates all styles of gameplay into the map itself. See, why I call it Splatoon design is most Splatoon maps are large and have varying terrain through the whole stage, that all of the other weapon types, or in this case, all of the classes, can find an area that they really shine in. So you're not required to switch your class mid-game to fit the map. This works in reverse too at certain parts, hindering your weapons. It encourages teamwork and variety rather than just stacking up one class with support classes to back them up. In Splatoon, you can't change weapons or gear mid-game, and in this map, the progression is so quick through the varying map design that it's not worth going back to spawn for such a small area. It sounds bad on paper, but it really encourages coordination and team play. The first area is good for defense, but needs mobility classes to assist. The second area is a long-range paradise with support classes given a lot of breathing room, and the third area is small and enclosed but with multiple levels to help prevent simply being spammed out by soldiers and demomen. And this last bit of Splatoon design is the map is a reverse mirror. Identical in progression on both sides, and never offering a right-handed or left-handed advantage depending on if you are either red or blue. Which is especially important as this is not attack and defense, but kind of a tug-of-war control points like Process or Snakewater. Both teams are attacking and defending, so not only are you free to play any class, but you can be on any team you want, it doesn't matter. Sadly though, this is yet another map the geniuses at Valve decided to remove from the game. So in regards to Capture the Flag Well, Capture the Flag Sawmill, and 5 Gorge, can we just send an email to Valve about getting these maps put back into the game? They were some of the most fun and unique maps in the game, and now they're gone. Let's try and bring them back. Now we move on to the second worst map in the game, and get your pitchforks out, you sweaty nerds, cause I don't give a shit. So, Turbine. You know, that box with 2 boxes in the middle of 2 varying other box hallways and a cramped boxed-in vent system leading to a boxed intel room, topped off with a nice gray wall design and more gray walls. God, I've seen Roblox maps with more creativity and thought put into them than this. So aside from the inspiring design of this map, what is actually wrong with it? I mean, plenty of other maps I enjoy are rather bland, such as CP Steel, so what's actually so bad about this map? First, the sightlines. They are literally straight lines directly across the main area of the map. Remember all the crap Suijin got for its original sightlines? Yeah, somehow Turbine gets away with having 3 of them. And the mid area, if even a single level 3 sentry is placed in there, the entire server will be shut down entirely, with no flank routes to get around it. You are, as a result, required to be power classes here. And if the sentry is built on top of one of these shipping containers, good luck getting a spy on there while the power classes are destroyed because there's no peeking in this map. You can't actually peek your rocket launcher or grenade launcher around a corner and shoot the sentry. No matter what you do, to be in your firing range of the sentry has to be currently shooting you. So not only are you required to be power classes, but you're required to have a medic up your butt 24/7 too. And most of the time, the engineers will be multi-spamming the rescue ranger on the same sentry, which makes it near impossible to take down with nothing short of a huge uber push with stock uber. And if you think that's just for the midsection, oh, you have never played this map before. That is true if you place a sentry literally anywhere on this map. I'm not done yet either. There are only 3 ways into the intel room, 2 of which lead directly to the enemy spawn in tight passageways with no escape. The one other is always guarded by a level 3 sentry, which again requires you to be being currently shot to even try and deal damage, only to be spammed by the rescue ranger once again. Stock Uber is the only medigun you should ever be using unless you're spamming middle in an arena mode with the Kritzkrieg and a soldier up your butt. Maybe the quick fix if your medic is smart about damage sharing, but no, just stock and Kritzkrieg unless you have a really good medic with the quick fix. More than 1 sentry though, and you'll need the stock no matter what anyway, so it doesn't even matter. The intel room itself, again, is covered entirely by a single sentry, and even if you manage to take down the sentry, only a few steps away from spawn, an engineer will have another sentry back up in no time. It is no trouble to crank out level 3 sentries faster than your whole team can hope to destroy them. This makes attacking unbearably difficult and defending stupidly easy. As a result, these matches tend to stalemate for literal hours upon hours to no end. Not until someone gets bored and leaves, creating an imbalance, can you hope to win. And then, the only choice is to keep up with the engineer's build rate. So as a result of this, spawn camping, which with such a closed exit door and how compact it is and close together they are, it's stupidly easy and the only way you can possibly hope to keep up with the engineers. Spawn camping is a requirement on this map. It's not fun. It lasts too long on a painfully bland, uninspired map, encourages only a few classes, and throws the rest under the bus, encourages spawn camping, actually requires spawn camping and spam. The engineers themselves get to sit in the intel room, waiting for up to 20 minutes before something actually happens, and the main area is too freaking small to even be a fun arena mode. This map is trash, but hold on to your butts, because there is one even worse than this. But first, we need something a little more lighthearted. Enter number 1. The very best map in the entire game, at least in my opinion of course, is Double Cross. Double Cross is 2 Fort, but done right. All of the issues with that map are solved here, while retaining all of the fun that 2 Fort offers. Really long and campable alternative paths? Nope. Wide open bridge and very short sewers directly under the enemy spawn. Impossible to get to the intel room? Nope. 3 different entrances, each with variety of ways to get to. Engineers camp all game and do nothing? Nah, the intel room is right next to spawn and it's super easy to change sentry positions depending on the tide of a battle. Yet, the nests are exposed enough that a small push is still possible to take down the nest. It just comes down to who defends and attacks better. Snipers only ever fight other snipers and serve no real purpose? Well, here they have a really good sightline of both the upper and lower bridge and can easily hide out of view of another sniper while they pick off more important targets crossing one of the 2 bridges. But the bridges still have enough cover to keep snipers from being overpowered. They can also be seen on top of the main bridge close to their base for a riskier but better sightline. What's another problem with 2 Fort? How about the 3 spawn rooms, one of which is completely useless, the other is way too easy to camp, and the third doesn't even function as a proper spawn room. I don't even know why it's there. NG can get metal from it, but can already get health and metal from ammo packs that are right next to him. I don't know why. No, with this map, just 1 spawn room with 3 distinct exits. The top level for quick access to your engineer allies and the intel, a second lower level with direct access to the battlements and the common enemy flank routes, and an interesting third hatch that drops directly into your sewers to ambush a group or individual sighted from the battlements going into your base, or to check for spies, engineers, and flanking classes sneaking around. The many levels and paths of this map are plentiful, but short and simple. It won't be confusing to new players, but it offers options for more experienced players to get around. And as for sentry nests being built in your sewers, these sewers have 4 different ways in, so they're never impossible to take down. Well balanced for all classes, well designed, simple enough for new players, complex enough for new strategies from veteran players, base flank routes that are designed to encourage teamwork but won't punish solo missions, a nice peaceful looking night setting with a nice skybox and backdrop, and you easily have the best designed and one of the most fun maps in the game. Even in old Meet Your Match, when this was in rotation 90% of the time aside from 2 Fort, it still never feels stale or repetitive. An impressive feat for such a small map in comparison to others. Nothing more to say other than Double Cross is definitely my favorite map in all of Team Fortress 2. And now, the moment you have all been waiting for, the worst map in the entire game by a landslide. Goddamn PowerHouse. You remember every issue I mentioned with Turbine? That's all present here. The easily camp final point, the cramped spaces, the stupidly all-seeing sightlines, the encouragement of spam classes, the rather bland design, though still not nearly as bland as Turbine, no alternative flank options other than up and down, easily camped spawn doors, engineers bored as heck waiting for literally anything to happen. Originally, this was going to be number 2, and Turbine was going to be the worst map of all time, but I found something in this map that is unforgivable. This is the exact same game mode as 5 Gorge, but with 3 points instead of 5, right? Remember the whole thing about Splatoon design? This map seems to try that, but fails miserably. They seem to think that making certain classes on each point overpowered is the same as giving different classes advantages in certain situations. Though, a constant on this map is that Soldier just wipes the floor with people on all points, right? Well, I noticed something about that. See, every time I play this map, blue team loses. Regardless of how good or bad the teams are, blue team never wins, and I found out why. See this area here? Great place for a sentry to cover the point and all entrances, but by using the corner peeking tactic, you can shoot them with Soldier without actually being in the firing range. Okay, so let's try this on the other side. Oh. Yeah, so because it's not a flipped mirror design, but an actual goddamn mirror, every single person in TF2 that plays with the standard right-handed view models, which is well over 99% of all TF2 players, if you are on blue team, you don't get this huge tactical advantage. That only works one way. I myself, being left-handed, can shoot around this corner, but no one else on my team can, and, as a result, the reverse is true for me. If I am on red team, I can't help take down the sentry nest with nothing short of a full Uber charge. I wondered why stalemates come down to all soldiers on red and all heavies on blue. God, that is just beyond Junction levels of stupid. This might be the worst map design I have ever seen, not just in Team Fortress 2, but any first-person shooter video game. And there are always sentries in this intel room, and if you can't peek at them, what are you going to do? But you know what the real kicker is? I found an unused section of this map that would have solved almost all of the problems it has, but it is so large and so detailed, it needs to be in its own video to be covered properly. I mean, there is a lot of stuff to go over. So for now, thanks for watching my list of the top 10 best and worst maps in TF2, and look forward to discussing the unused area that not only would have made PowerHouse playable, but may have even made it one of the better maps in the game. Maybe even good enough to be on the other side of this list. Yeah, we're talking that big of a difference. That is all the time we have for now. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure if you are not subscribed already to do so if you enjoy my content, and be sure to check if you even are still subscribed because about 300 of my subscribers got unsubscribed in an overnight glitch. And don't forget to hit the notification bell too because subscribing is basically useless now. Links as always are in the description, and I hope to see all of you in the next one.
Aye.